All right, let's dive in. Today we're unpacking a uh, really fascinating set of sources. They came to us from a listener who was looking into studying overseas,
Hmm.
and they stumbled upon something called the University of South Wales, Australia. Now, on paper, I mean, it promised this world-class education, amazing job prospects. Sounds fantastic, frankly.
Indeed, it really does. And our mission, really, for this deep dive is to guide you through that initial picture, which looks very appealing.
Right.
But then, and this is the important bit, uncover some pretty significant underlying truths.
Okay.
And finally, we'll sort of connect those findings to the bigger picture,
Mhm.
the often complex world of international education and how universities are run.
Yeah, what makes a university seem attractive versus, well, what's really going on?
Exactly. We'll look at what genuinely attracts a global student and then, yeah, what happens when perception and reality maybe don't quite line up.
Exactly. So whether you're actually thinking about studying abroad yourself, or maybe you're just curious about how these huge educational places operate globally, you're definitely in for some surprises.
Oh, definitely.
I think you'll walk away with a few aha moments about, navigating this whole area.
Hmm.
So let's start where our listener started, with that initial presentation of this University of South Wales, Australia.
Okay.
Because honestly, our sources paint a very compelling picture. Almost idyllic, you could say. It's talked about for its unique programs, strong industry links, really supportive environment.
Yeah, the message was pretty clear. Great education, fantastic job prospects waiting for you.
Totally.
And what's really striking, I think, is how strategically framed those initial details were.
Mm.
The university is described as having this high academic reputation, drawing students from all over the world,
Right.
and offering, crucially, career-focused learning, programs designed with industry partners. Now, for students wanting practical skills, a clear path to a job, that's a huge pull.
Absolutely. And the list of courses, it sounds genuinely impressive. For undergrads, you're talking about really in-demand fields. Engineering, business, design, IT, health sciences.
Yeah.
The sources even gave specific examples like Bachelor of Business and Management, Computer Science, different engineering streams, civil, mechanical, electrical, plus health science. It looked really comprehensive.
And it didn't stop there. For people looking for postgraduate study, the options sounded just as good. Master's degrees, MBAs, research opportunities too.
Yeah.
They highlighted popular choices like the Master of Business Administration, data science, public health, engineering. I mean, these are all fields with huge global demand right now.
They even laid out the admission requirements really clearly, almost like a checklist for applying. For
Wow.
undergrads, it was, typically 12 years of school, English tests like IELTS or TOEFL, your transcripts. Pretty standard stuff, but clearly stated.
And for postgrads, naturally, you'd need a bachelor's in a related field, a
Mm-hmm.
certain minimum GPA, and again, those English tests, all very straightforward, seemingly.
And beyond the pure academics, the story really pushed the student support angle hard.
Oh, yeah. There was mention of merit scholarships, for top students, and also need-based financial aid.
And the student life part, painted as really vibrant. High-tech libraries, labs, modern housing, sports facilities.
And a culturally diverse campus welcoming students from everywhere. That's always a big selling point.
Definitely. Plus, loads of plugs in societies, academic, arts, sports, cultural groups, you name it.
Mm-hmm.
And crucially for many, the financial side. The sources talked about the cost of living in Australia, travel, housing, food, personal stuff.
And they made a point of highlighting that international students could work part-time while studying to help cover those costs. That's a big factor for many people.
It really is.
Even the application process was broken down into this simple 5-step guide. Pick your program, check you're eligible, get your documents, apply online, accept the offer. Simple.
Right. And they mentioned deadlines, suggesting you apply a few months early. It all adds to this feeling of legitimacy, like it's a well-oiled machine.
Exactly. It builds confidence.
And then, to really seal the deal, our sources included these quite touching success stories.
Yes, the student testimonials.
Yeah, people like Rakesh Shetty studying cybersecurity, Anusha Gowda doing an MBA, Pradeep Kumar in data science, all supposedly achieving their dreams at this university, University of South Wales, Australia.
And supposedly with the help of a study abroad service called Let's Study. It's all very polished, very, very compelling.
Oh, okay. So everything we've just laid out, brilliant programs, great campus, happy students. It sounds amazing, right? Just what you'd look for.
Absolutely. Ticks all the boxes.
And this is a big but. Here's where our deep dive took a critical turn. our digging into the sources uncovered something huge, something that just flips this whole picture on its head.
Mm-hmm. This is where we really need to connect the dots
Mm-hmm.
and ask that crucial question.
Yeah.
How reliable is all that initial information?
Yeah.
Because what our sources then revealed, quite explicitly, is that there is no official institution anywhere called University of South Wales, Australia.
Wait, hang on. What?
It just doesn't exist.
So all those detailed programs, the campus descriptions, those student stories, they're not for a university that's actually in Australia.
That's right.
Wow. Okay. That is a huge aha moment right there. And kind of shocking, actually. So,
What's the real story then?
precisely. It's not just a slight name change or anything like that. The actual University of South Wales, or USW, absolutely exists. It's a real university.
Okay.
But it's based entirely in the UK. Campuses in Cardiff, Newport, Pontypridd.
In the UK, not Australia.
Not Australia. So any listing you might see for a University of South Wales,
Yeah.
Canberra, or University of South Wales, Australia on, say, a study abroad site, well, according to our sources, it's completely fictitious. It's a fake listing.
Wow.
It's not a real campus, not a recognized branch of the actual UK university, nothing.
So all those impressive stats they mentioned, the academic reputation, the career focus, the graduate outcomes, like that 96% employment rate.
Yes, those statistics are likely legitimate.
But they refer only to the UK-based University of South Wales. They've basically been lifted and applied to this non-existent Australian entity.
That's incredibly misleading. It's taking real data and putting it in a false context, a really crucial distinction to make.
It is, and it's a clear example of how you can build a very convincing but ultimately false picture. It's also really important not to confuse this fake name with a real and actually very well-regarded Australian university, the University of New South Wales, UNSW.
Ah, okay. UNSW. That's a completely different, legitimate institution.
Completely different. But the similar sounding name, that can easily cause confusion, perhaps deliberately.
Which means those inspiring stories about Rakesh, Anusha, and Pradeep, supposedly studying at University of South Wales, Australia, and now thriving in Sydney.
They're built on a foundation that just doesn't exist. The whole premise is false.
It really highlights how careful you need to be. So what kind of red flags should someone like our listener be looking out for when they see something like this? It looks so professional.
That is a great question. I mean, beyond the obvious name issue here, a massive red flag is seeing genuine stats or details from one known place like the UK's USW being attached to a different unverified location.
Right. Cross-referencing is key then.
Absolutely critical. Always check claims against official university websites, the real university site, and also government education portals, independent accreditation bodies, multiple sources.
What about the study abroad service mentioned? Let's study.
Well, if a specific agency or service is the only place you're finding detailed information about a particular university, especially one presented so perfectly, that should set off alarm bells immediately.
Okay.
Look for consistency across independent, verified sources.
Yep.
A major warning sign here would be the lack of any direct official Australian website for this specific university name.
Got it. That makes sense. Now, this whole revelation about University of South Wales, Australia being, well, not real, it might seem like just one strange case. But it really opens up a much bigger conversation, doesn't it? It's not just about spotting fakes. It shines a light on some of the systemic pressures within international education that can create these kinds of vulnerabilities, even for real universities.
That's a really important point. Understanding these challenges, especially the ones facing universities in places like Australia, where our sources gave some really good context, can actually help you make smarter choices.
How so?
Well, what's fascinating is how the management challenges faced by real universities can, sort of indirectly, create an environment where misleading info can spread, or at least where the pressures are so high that things get confusing.
Ah, okay.
Our sources highlighted some common management issues within Australian universities, for example, which are pretty typical of what's happening globally in higher education.
And these challenges sound pretty serious. We're
Yeah.
talking university councils under fire for governance issues, big financial pressures, often because they rely so heavily on international student fees.
Exactly. That reliance is key.
And even significant job cuts. Our sources mention, over 3,500 cuts across 18 universities, plus course closures, especially hitting areas like humanities, teaching, and arts.
And then that volatility around international student funding, often driven by sudden changes in visa rules or government policies, is a huge factor in these financial strains.
Right.
That instability can directly affect a university's ability to offer a wide range of programs, invest in facilities, or even just guarantee its stability long term. The sources even noted that governance and finance problems in the sector are actually under national investigation in Australia right now.
Wow. Okay. So it's a serious issue.
It tells you how significant these pressures are.
And to really illustrate this, our sources had that case study, didn't they, about the medium-sized regional Aussie uni?
Yes, that was quite stark. It lost 30% of its international students almost overnight because of government caps.
And the impact.
Devastating, apparently. Immediate program cuts, staff morale just collapsed, and the financial problems got much worse. It really shows the real-world consequences these big-picture issues have on institutions and ultimately on the student experience.
Which really underlines why good, effective management is just so critical for universities to stay resilient.
Absolutely. And our sources offered some useful tips for improving university management. While there were quite a few, some really stand out as things a prospective student might want to think about, even indirectly.
Like what?
Well, for instance, the need for universities to diversify their funding, to not be so reliant on international student fees.
Oh, okay, and why does that matter to a student choosing where to go?
Because if an institution seems almost entirely dependent on those international fees, you have to wonder, how stable is it long term? What happens if those numbers drop suddenly? Does it impact their commitment to all students, domestic and international, or to research? It points to a potential vulnerability.
So as a student, maybe look out for marketing that feels overly focused just on international recruitment or fees that seem way out of line without clear justification. That could hint at that kind of over-reliance.
It could be a subtle indicator, yes. Another key tip was about promoting transparent workforce planning.
What does that mean for someone choosing a university? How would they even know?
Well, for a student, transparency in how the university manages its staff and resources translates into clarity and stability for them. Is the university constantly restructuring without explanation? Are the persistent rumors or reports of staff morale problems or programs suddenly getting canceled?
Okay.
Those things can be signs that the institution isn't managing itself in a way that guarantees a stable learning environment. A well-run university, focused on academic quality, tends to be more open about its plans and committed to its staff and students. You're looking for signs of institutional health, not just slick marketing.
Right, looking beyond the brochure. And what about the points on mental health resources and flexible study options? They seem like obvious positives.
They're obvious positives, but they're also vital indicators of a university that truly prioritizes student well-being and adaptability, which ties back to good management.
How so?
In today's world, strong mental health support isn't just a nice-to-have, it's essential. And flexible study options, often using technology, show an institution can adapt to changing needs and global situations.
Okay.
If a university seems slow or reluctant to invest in these areas, it might suggest a more rigid, maybe less student-focused management style that could affect your ability to cope with challenges or just thrive. These details, they seem small, but they say a lot about the university's values and how forward-thinking it is.
Yeah, that case study really drove that home, didn't it? Showing how involving students and staff earlier could have eased the crisis.
Exactly. Proactive, inclusive management makes a huge difference.
So wrapping this all up, what does this mean for you, our listener? I mean, we started this deep dive looking at what seemed like a straightforward study option, and it quickly turned into a major lesson about needing to verify everything and really understanding the complex stuff going on behind the scenes at universities.
Knowledge, as we always emphasize, is most valuable when you understand it and can actually apply it.
Yeah.
This whole situation really highlights that, yes, the desire for a great education and career is universal,
Right.
but getting there requires real diligence, critical thinking. You have to question those initial assumptions, always look for multiple independent viewpoints, and demand that solid, verifiable proof before you make huge decisions like this.
Absolutely. Whether you're actively researching study abroad options right now or just trying to get a better handle on the university world, or even just wanting to be a smarter consumer of information, remember that first impression, however polished it looks, it might not be the whole story. Always dig deeper. Verify those sources. Look for that undeniable proof.
So perhaps the final provocative thought we can leave you with is this. In our world today, so interconnected, so digital, where information and misinformation about education can spread like wildfire,
Yeah.
what new responsibilities do students themselves now have? Responsibilities in sorting truth from fiction. And, maybe more importantly, how can you best equip yourselves to spot the genuine opportunities and protect yourselves from being misled?
That is definitely something worth chewing on. Thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive. We really hope it's given you some valuable insights and plenty to think about as you navigate your own educational journey.